Good day to all. Welcome to Extreme Recap. Earth was overrun by aliens. However, humans enslaved and forced the planet's inhabitants into labor instead of taking control. Get their fucking walkway. Eliminating out. Come, we should go. We should go. Carrying out. I'm not. Vikas Vanda, an employee of the multinational corporation Multinational United Manu. Marva discusses the primary objective of the organization, which is to establish contact between humans and aliens, during the interview. In authentic recordings and selections from interviews. In 1982, a huge spaceship appears in the sky above Johannesburg, but no one emerges from it for 3 whole months. Experts and scientists discuss the appearance of aliens on Earth. Furthermore, the public authority chooses to cut an opening inside the boat. Aliens that resemble enormous mollusks but are quite intelligent are discovered to be clearly malnourished and unhealthy by thousands of people. The aliens will be moved into a special temporary camp directly beneath their ship by a government-appointed group. The military is in charge of fencing off the area, but the alien camp soon becomes a crime-ridden slum. The authorities in South Africa spend a lot of money adapting and protecting the immigrants. However, the situation in District Number 9 is still getting worse. The people of Johanna are getting tired of the aliens, who think there are additional significant issues besides housing the aliens. However, due to the malfunction of their ship, the aliens are compelled to remain on Earth. Scientists discover that the control module broke off from the main ship and fell to Earth, making it impossible to launch the enormous machine. Without it, police are continually leading pursuits of the outsiders' homes and tracking down stockrooms with outsider weapons. The district's crime rate is skyrocketing, and discontent is growing. The aliens are derisively referred to as prawns by the residents of the surrounding neighborhoods, and they demand that they be removed from the city. 20 years after the prawns arrived on Earth, the authorities make the decision to move the aliens and tighten their control over them to District Number 10. To get this done, the government hires MNU, and as a result, this is the largest MNU operation in its entire history. Its workers should now migrate 1.8 million prawns from locale number 9 in the new area. Number 10, which is a massive tent city that looks more like a concentration camp and is 200 kilometers from Johannesburg. Vikas Vanda Marva is advanced by his father by marriage named Pete Smith, and becomes top of the activity to a triumph. The man believes that the aliens will succeed and is extremely optimistic. Actually, the prawns are lawful residents of South Africa, so you should follow the law and serve the outsiders with expulsion cease in 24 hours or less. You just put your school. The organization knows about every one of the dangers implied in the activity. Therefore, a special military unit under Colonel Cuba's command, along with personnel from and U, the vendor is sent to District Number 9. When the and U mercenaries and agents are noticed, the aliens begin to act aggressively. Some of them assault individuals and harm their property. So the military needs to annihilate them on the spot. The kiss is against savagery, so he chooses to divert the gathering of unfriendly prawns with feline food, to which every one of the outsiders have an unusual fondness. Snippets of interviews also provide the agents with some signatures in exchange for cans of cat food. It is uncovered that the outsiders who end up on Earth are common individuals who, inexplicably, have lost their chiefs. Not long after its creation, the Nigerian mafia has control over District Number 9. Led by Obese on Ho, a prominent figure in Johannesburg's criminal community. The horde lays out its own regulations and abuses the outsiders. Vikas and his helpers discover a number of alien eggs containing embryos in one of the houses. The top of the activity merrily tells the best way to annihilate them. The house is then destroyed by fire because it takes too long to remove the eggs one by one. Much like popcorn, the agents keep building alien homes. Additionally, confiscate their weapons in addition to collecting signatures, as that is precisely what the MNU is all about. The officials figured they could utilize really strong outsider weapons, yet it turns out it is quite difficult. It turns out that the technology used by the aliens is based on biology and can only interact with their DNA, so humans cannot control it. Another house is broken into by Vikas and his men. The top of the activity is certain that there are weapons to be viewed as here. Vikas discovers a hidden opening in the wall that is hidden behind it. A chemical laboratory, not a weapons depot, is what he finds. A metal cylinder appears suddenly after he searches the entire room. Among the garbage, Vikas tries to figure out what's inside the flask after realizing that this artifact is clearly not earthly. Unexpectedly, a bizarre dark fluid sprays out of the chamber, sprinkling all over on the grounds that his face. The man is unsure of the consequences of the incident. The MNU specialist sees the perilous relic and are going to take it to the lab for investigation. This finding makes Vikas exceptionally cheerful. However, he has the impression that this house will also contain a weapons cache. It turns out that his assumptions were correct. Additionally, he has already summoned airborne reinforcements to capture the criminal. Vikas, however, sustains a serious injury to his left arm as a result of the skirmish with the soldiers, but the owner of the house is not going to give up and fight back against the agents and the military. Vikas's co-workers want him to go to the hospital, but the man is determined to keep doing the surgery. Vikas is bandaged and treated on his arm. He then moves on to the next house. An alien named Christopher Johnson must sign for the agents, whose young son resides there. The notice is not signed by him. Additionally, Christopher immediately strikes Vikas as being more intelligent than the other prawns. With him, Vikas behaves differently. He undermines the outsider with the expulsion of his child, who will be removed by friendly administrations in the event that he doesn't sign the papers. As the agent enters the house to retrieve Christopher's son, she comes across an entire warehouse of computer equipment. Vicky suddenly gets sick and leaves the alien house. Concerned about their boss's health, the entire MNU team leaves District 9 alone for a while, leaving Christopher and his son alone in town. Notwithstanding his general incapacitation, Vikas shows weird side effects. His nose is dying, dark liquid, and the nails on his right hand are stripping off. In the meantime, experts who were interviewed talk about the Nigerian mafia, which has a lot of alien weapons and is trying to learn how to use them. For this reason, Nigerians lead unique customs and eat outsider body parts, yet nothing makes a difference. Additionally, human hands render the most potent extraterrestrial weapons useless. Vikas Van de Wonder gets back. Tanya, his wife, celebrates her husband's promotion by throwing a party. However, Vikas isn't content with the various visitors. He only gets worse. He spews dark fluid right on the party table, after which he blacks out. He is taken to the medical center. The man's injured arm has been transformed into an alien hand with 3 toes when the bandage is opened. The kiss is stunned by such a. The specialist quickly reports the secretive change to Manu, and a couple of moments later, specialists show up in the room and promptly transport the lamentable man to the organization lab. The cylinder containing the liquid that infected Vickers is discovered by the doctors after they search through the man's belongings. Many tests are run on him at the clinic, and it is found that Vikas can now involve an extraterrestrial weapon as his DNA is a blend among human and outsider. Additionally, menu management makes the decision to dissect Vikas and extract the mutated cells, tissues, and organs that will serve as the foundation for a biotechnological breakthrough and fetch the government billions of dollars. Naturally, the unfortunate individual would not survive such an operation. However, management is completely unconcerned about this fact. Vicky begs his father-in-law for assistance, but he only promises to work things out with the man's family with the help of his colleagues. Vikas manages to escape from the Emmanuel lap in the final seconds before the dissection begins. Pete Smith informs his daughter that Vikas is likely to die due to a very serious health issue. Be that as it may, out of nowhere he is educated regarding the man's getaway right out of the working room. Additionally, Smith ought to make every effort to locate him. Because MNU is the only person on Earth whose DNA has successfully fused with alien genetics, the kiss becomes a valuable artifact for him. The former agent is being pursued right now. The unfortunate man's health continues to deteriorate and he is forced to hide from the military wherever he goes. Depleted and hungry, Vikas comes to a burger joint. However, all of a sudden, one television channel begins to broadcast a message stating that due to sexual contact with an alien, a particular dangerous and contagious disease had infected him. Vikas tries to convince the diners that everything they have been told is false after being shocked by MNU's outright lies. However, following such news, no one wishes to assist him. The man attempts to contact his better half. However, She does not answer the phone. Photographs of Vikas are posted all around the city, and he is covered by all radio and TV slots. The man decides to hide in the only place where they won't look for him because he is so desperate. Vikas can't find any other food in District 9, so he has to eat cat food. The man's teeth begin to fall out as the mutation progresses in District 9. Tanya calls Vickers again and tells him she won't be seeing him again. He tries to convince his wife that everything they say about him having sex with aliens is a lie. Nevertheless, desperate for his wife's words, Tanya refuses to believe him. Vikas decides on the spur of the moment to use an axe to cut off his new alien hand. Nonetheless, he needs assurance and just eliminates one finger. In the meantime, numerous military helicopters can be seen hovering over the region. Christopher Johnson and his young son live in the house where Vikas hides from the raid, whom yesterday he took steps to expel and isolate. The former agent now begs the alien for assistance. Vikas sees many working PCs in Christopher's home, yet he before long blacks out. Johnson suddenly notices the mutated limb Vikas has. He understands that this change could have happened as a result of contact with the lost relic and chooses to protect Vikas from the military. Christopher demands information from the man when he regains consciousness about the location of the cylinder containing the black liquid. The Kiss begins to realize that the strange place he woke up in is the same command module that the government has been trying unsuccessfully to define for over 20 years after Vikas informs him that he confiscated it during a search and that the artifact is now at MNU. It turns out that the Prongs had always wanted to start the command module's engines and were collecting the remains of the black alien substance, which would have stopped the module from working. When they reach the main ship, Christopher promises Vikas that he will be able to stop the mutation. Oh, is it true that you are saying that you can turn this? This is vulnerable and enters a person. In other words, you might regain your humanity. Nonetheless, this requires the taken fluid holder. Vikas acknowledges he should go for it and consents to assist Christopher with recuperating the antique. The mutation affects almost the entire upper torso of Vickers 2 days after contact with the black substance. The man is panicked to see his body canvassed in horrendous source. The phone rings suddenly. Tanya calls Vikas to let him know that she still believes him and wants things to be the same as before. Vickers guarantees that he will give his best for return to typical life. Nevertheless, Tanya has lied to her husband. The conversation with Vikas is recorded, and the Emmanuel leadership and Colonel Venturo know for sure that Vikas is in District Number 9. Since the extraterrestrial fluid will make him normal again and the prawns will be able to return home, he turns to the Nigerian mafia for alien weapons. The bandits, on the other hand, aren't very friendly. The Nigerians convey on the grounds that to the crowd chief, Obey Sanho, who longs to wield a weapon from another planet, envy Vickers' grasp. What's more, such a hand would be exceptionally helpful to him. In order to eat the man's arm and gain a similar limb, he instructs his subordinates to cut it off. However, Vikas manages to grab the most potent weapon and eliminate several of the criminals, threatening to eliminate the other people. He leaves the Nigerian quarter after purchasing the weapons he and Christopher require. Pete Smith and Cuba's vendor ordered a grab team to bring Vikas to MNU alive and sent them to District 9. However, a sudden loud explosion can be heard outside the company's headquarters. Vikas, Christopher, infiltrate in the laboratory where they use alien weapons to kill the guards. Christopher is advised to run by Vikas, who quickly locates the black liquid-filled cylinder. But a terrible sight shocks the alien. In the laboratory, he observes numerous dissected remains of relatives, which appear to have been used in experiments. Vikas begs him to leave and makes the oath that he had no knowledge of anything like it. However, Christopher does not respond to the man's statements. The tactical blasts into the lab and starts shooting. By bringing Christopher out of his trance and reminding him of his son, Vicky is successful. They manage to escape the lab after responding with the alien weapon. Christopher and Vikas return to District 9 after securing the lost artifact. While the military, when they reach the underground command module, led by Colonel Venter, LED continues to pursue them. Christopher informs Vicky that he cannot assist Vicky at this time. The outsider first needs to embrace a salvage mission for his family, which will require around 3 years. The hoodwinked man shocks Christopher in a fury and chooses to turn over the motor himself. Christopher is taken into custody when the military arrives at his home. Walvis, alongside Christopher's child, is now getting the order module very high. Cuba gives the order to fire at the target, and the rocket launcher knocks the module down, causing it to fall to the ground. Cuba breaks into the downed aircraft a few seconds later and seizes Vikas. However, Christopher's son is able to evade the military by hiding in the module's back. Christopher and Vikas are being removed from District 9. However, a Nigerian gang suddenly appears in their path, attacks the MNU armored vehicles, kidnaps Vikas, and sets off a fierce battle. The man is taken to Corpulent on Cultivator, who intends to ultimately eat and chop off his arm simultaneously. Christopher's child, who stays in the order module, enacts the spaceship's control framework. As it gets closer to the module's location, the enormous alien ship begins to move. All of the aliens are activated by turning on the ship's systems. Technology, such as the enormous exoskeleton that the Nigerians received in return for cat food. The battle exoskeleton is customized to obliterate the adversary, so it takes out every one of the Nigerians. But he leaves alive, thinking he's one of its own. The Kiss chooses to utilize the outsider exoskeleton to get away from his circle. The man passes on Christopher to the military and takes off. Cuba instructs them to kill the alien. He has never provided them with any information regarding the ship's operation. After a couple of seconds, Vicky decides to return and protect Christopher. All things considered, he assists the outsider with getting to the order module by covering him and terminating back. He fights and kills a lot of military personnel. He does everything he can to make sure Christopher and his son can leave this world with the Kiss. So he keeps on repulsing the assaults of Cuba's unit. The firefight results in the command module successfully taking off and docking with the ship, while the exoskeleton is severely damaged and escapes. The man keeps on changing into an outsider. Already, his left eye is as large and yellow as the prawns. Cuba, who made do, pursues the awful Vikas and is going to at long last polish him off. Vickers's resident prawns, on the other hand, suddenly appear. Help tearing Cuba separated and gobbling up him. The alien ship begins to drift away from Earth as Christopher starts the engines. Vikas is glad that his efforts were not in vain and that he was able to assist the aliens. The moving ship fascinated the people of Johannesburg, who rushed out onto the streets to observe it. Presently, individuals can hardly stand by to see what occurs straightaway. Again, we hear excerpts from interviews with a variety of experts who speculate about the past. It is obscure assuming Christopher Johnson will return for his own sword or on the other hand in the event that he has just chosen to take off or whether the most dire outcome imaginable will emerge and Johnson will proclaim battle on humanity. Additionally, nobody knows whether it is Van de Mervis made do. He might have been secretly taken by government or business. Be that as it may, all family members have previously found a sense of peace with the misfortune data about the unlawful hereditary exploration has become public. MNU is currently awaiting legal action. The outsider populace has developed to 2.5 million and keeps on developing. Tanya, Vicky's significant other, relates how she recently came across an odd present hidden beneath her door. A rose made of plates of metal. She refuses to believe that her husband Vikas brought the metal rose, even though she recalls that Vikas always liked to give handmade gifts. At long last changed into an outsider stands on the vestiges of locale number 9 and gathers one more blossom for his better half. Do you think Christopher will return to helplessness with all of his family? Let us know in the comments and turn on notifications. Please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.